What does it do, YouTube? Welcome back to another episode of Scotty Says. I am your host, and welcome to episode 113, my folks. And this episode will be the highly anticipated, long-awaited, often promised abbreviated episode because the Rams faced them damn Niners and Father Shanahan after a short week of preparation on Thursday Night Football. And they went up to the Bay in the rain and the wind, and they defeated them damn Niners. And they moved into first place in the NFC West while at the same time driving a stake through the heart of them damn Niners and the Father, the Dada. And so there are plenty of causes to be celebratory after the Thursday night victory, but I want to focus on a couple of specific areas that need to be addressed. And so this episode is really going to be a little different than the previous ones before. Now, I went back to the last time the Rams and them damn Niners played. Actually, it was 10 episodes ago, episode 103 to be precise. And, I was struck by the fact that it seems that my broadcast from the outskirts of the city may finally be reaching the intended target. Maybe, possibly, Coach McWonder has gotten the message somehow. Maybe he's a secret subscriber, or maybe one of his acolytes, one of his associates is giving him the information, or maybe he just stumbled upon the recipe. I don't know, but what I do know is that I have been coming here for years now, episode after episode, and I've been touting a remedy, a formula, a recipe for the Rams to win ball games and to defeat their nemesis, them damn Niners, and Father Shanahan. And my recipe, the 25-30 principle, I named it, has proven to be golden, and that's why I subtitle it the new golden rule. Because it is golden when you apply the two simple metrics of the 25-30 principle. When you run the ball a minimum of 25 design run plays, a minimum of 25, and when you cap your quarterback throws to a maximum of 30 pass attempts, you win ball games in the NFL. And I just want to talk about how I came upon the formula, because it seems to be infallible. Every time that the coach of the Rams employs the 25-30 principle in a ball game, the Rams win. And you would think he would say enough with the suspicions and the doubts. If it works, I'm going to continue to apply it, you would think. And, he's a willful fellow. And I don't believe at first he completely embraced and understood and valued the efficacy of the 25-30 principle. He eschewed it. But lo and behold, after 7, 8, 9 losses in a row to his dada, he finally said, listen, this guy on the outskirts with this 25-30 principle, let me at least take a look at it. I'll give it a test run. And do you know that every time McGenius has employed my principle, he has won? Every time? That's not a coincidence. And that's what I want to talk to you about this episode. The principle, how I came upon it, how I found it. Because it started, my folks, with my frustration at the Rams' repeated demise, repeated defeats at the hands of them damn Niners. 9 in a row in the regular season. And it took a tarting in the NFC Championship game in order for the Rams to somehow miraculously get past them damn Niners in that game. But 9 consecutive regular season defeats in a row. And I thought, why? What is happening here? What is McWonder doing or not doing? What is Father Shanahan doing or not doing? Is there a pattern in the numbers? And my folks, Eureka! I discovered it by scouring through the debris, scouring the data. I discovered it. Now, granted, it wasn't a discovery like Salk or Newton. I didn't discover a vaccine for polio. I didn't discover the orbital stability of the planets in motion. No, but what I did find, what I did discover was a recipe, a remedy, a formula that when applied guarantees victory. And now, honestly, wouldn't you, if I came to you and I said, I have a guaranteed method by which you can fill in the blank, win the lottery, or whatever it is your goal may be. I have a guaranteed method and it only requires you to meet 2 simple metrics. Wouldn't you try it? Especially if you have been trying and failing and trying and failing and trying and failing again and again. Wouldn't you try? Wouldn't you be receptive to helpful advice from the outskirts of the city? Well, the head coach of the Rams, Coach McWonder, was not. No, he eschewed it and kept stacking losses, kept tasting defeat, kept wearing L's on his head. And then, the skies parted. My folks, the sun shone through. It was as if the coach said, "The hell with it, I'm going to try the principle." And he hasn't lost since he's tried it. Only when he deviates. And so now, 3 victories over them damn Niners in a row. And do you know each one of them, the metrics of the 25-30 principle were met? Both metrics each time, each of those 3 victories. In fact, when Coach McWonder applies the new golden rule, when he uses the formula, when he meets the metrics of the 25-30 principle, the man doesn't lose. Why wouldn't you continue to use that recipe, the winning formula? Why wouldn't you let success be your guide? He loves acronyms. Fundamentally unsound. Fuss. You don't want fuss. You want less big. Let success be your guide. And I've given him the formula. I've given him the route to success in the way of the 25-30 principle. And when he applies it, he does not lose. And so, hey, that's not a coincidence. And I don't know if he stumbles upon this formula and wins in spite of himself, which is possible, or if more likely, he is making a concerted effort to meet the metrics because he knows that's the key to victory, because he knows the 25-30 principle is golden. That is more likely, my folks. And so I came here for years now. More than 2 years ago, I came here and I said, "Coach, just apply this formula and you will win." And he said, I want to do it my way and lose. And that's what he did. But now, 3 victories over his dada in a row. Now, the Son is sonning the Father. Go ahead on, McG, but don't deviate. Less big, let success be your guide. Keep using the metric, the formula, and honestly, it would be nice if somebody would send me one hard-boiled egg just to say, hey, we appreciate what you've been doing from the outskirts. But I know. That's highly unlikely, isn't it? But see, now that McWonder is out fathering the Father, why, look at the disarray San Francisco is in. Father's in a world of turmoil up there in the Bay. You see players refusing to come back in the game, and all of these question marks are circulating around Father Shanahan. And I told you in the predictions episode to start off this NFL season, I told you San Francisco would fall off this year and that the Rams would win the division, the NFC West. Now, I've been right about San Francisco falling off. The Rams put a stake in them. They put the stake through the heart of them damn Niners with that Thursday night punt fest. But it was a victory, and that's the thing. See, it wasn't pretty to watch, but there are no ugly wins. L's and dubs, dubs and L's. Which one did you get? McWonder got the dub. And all dubs are beautiful. Okay? They're all dubs are 10s. And so there are no ugly wins. But this one was a bit hard to watch. And as I say, the conditions weren't ideal. Heavy rain and wind. And I'm sure the temperatures were a little chilly. And the thing with McWonder is, in the beginning, it looked like he was determined to chuck it all around the yard, despite the inclement weather. And I found myself yelling at the television, said, Mr. McWonder, what are you doing? What are you doing? 25-30 principle. Someone remind him of it. And it was almost as if someone came to him on the sideline and said, Coach, they pulled his coat. Coach! 25-30 principle. Don't forget, remember? And he said, oh, yes, that's right, the principle. Let me get back on track. And he got himself together. And he won. And I promised him. I assured him. I guaranteed him, if you follow my principle, you will win. You will beat your dada. You will be a force in the NFL by simply following the formula, meeting the two simple metrics. And so right out the gate, I can tell you that Coach McWonder once again employed the 25-30 principle on Thursday Night Football in San Francisco, and he won again. Despite his initial reluctance to use it, it seems clear to me that he has gotten the memo now. And we'll see as we move forward, because the man has shown a tendency to Motown backslide, to deviate, to revert back to old bad habits. And so we'll see now if he continues on this course, using the principle, playing fundamentally sound. If he does, if he lets success be the guide, if he does these things, he can continue right on through into the Super Bowl. If he deviates, if he reverts, if he backslides, he'll be right back in the same position that he was before. Remember how awful it felt at 1-4? Remember that 5-12 ugliness? That's where it started, my folks. I was looking for answers to try to help my Rams. And I feel as though my messages must have gotten through. But as I say, things did not start out that way. Now, I went back 10 episodes ago, in fact, This is episode 113. If you go back to episode 103, that was the last time that the Rams played them damn Niners. And at that point in time, the Rams were 0-2. They were looking down the barrel of 0-3 with them damn Niners coming to town. And remember, I gave you the original lyrics to Father Shanahan's Coming to Town. He knows just how to beat you. He knows your weaknesses. He knows because he wrote the book. He knows past happy, yes. Remember. Well, I'm happy to say Mr. McWonder is rewriting the book. He's now flipped the script. He's doing to Father what Father did to him. Father Shanahan stayed in balance. Father Shanahan religiously would follow the 25-30 principle. That's how I discovered it. I said, look at what this man does every time he plays the Rams. Every time them damn Niners played the Rams, he capped his quarterback throws to a maximum of 30, and he had a minimum of 25 runs. And I said, this is it. Aha! Ah! I found it. And then I applied it across numerous game boards. I applied it over and over, and it kept winning. It was golden. It never failed. And I said, this is the answer, Eureka. I've discovered the answer. And I went back to episode 103. And what do you know, my folks? In episode 103, I talked quite a bit at length about how Coach McWonder was following the 25-30 principle against his Dada and won. And now here it is, 10 episodes later. He's beaten them, swept them. And do you know the last time the Rams swept the Niners in a season was way back, 1999. Party like it's the 1999-2000 Rams, the greatest show on turf. That's how long it has been since the Rams took 2 in one season from them damn Niners. And they did it this year. After 25 years, they did it this year. And in both those victories, the coach followed my 25-30 principle to victory. Both of them. That's not a coincidence, my folks. Hashtag not a coincidence. The formula is real. The principle is golden. It's not magic. It's math. Okay? And so, just to give you an idea, in the first Rams meeting this season with San Francisco, this one was at the Palace in Inglewood. The Rams, 26 run plays, 26 passes. What? Say what? The Rams? Balanced? Both metrics met. Remember, maximum 30 pass attempts. They had 26. Minimum 25 run plays. They had 26 and 26. Perfectly balanced run and pass. And they won with the 25-30 principle. That was the first game 10 episodes ago, and I had discussed it. I was jubilant. I was celebratory. And the Rams, I said then, saved their season at 1-2, but then they went right on, and I warned them in 103 in that episode. I said, now don't Motown backslide, because you did that against Detroit. You went to Motown, and you did the Motown backslide in the playoffs, and then to start the season. Both times, the Lions put them up. They whooped you because you reverted. You wouldn't follow the principle. So, the Cardinals had drubbed you. You were 0-2, and them damn Niners come to town, your nemesis. And I reached out to him. I said, Father's coming to town. Okay? And I created the original lyrics for the occasion. He knows when you are passing. He knows when you play fake. He knows that you eschew the run, so beware, for goodness sake. You better watch out. You better drop down. You better stay low. I'm warning you now. Your dada, Shanahan, he's coming. Your papa, Shanahan, is coming. Your father, Shanahan, is coming to town. Well, in the Christmas time mood, I had to sing you the rendition once again, but my point, my folks, is that the Rams flipped the script on Father Shanahan. They turned the tables on him. And they did to him what he had notoriously been doing to them. And I said at that time, Coach, you're welcome. But I warned them in that episode, don't be high on the horse after this victory now. Stay on the path. Stay with the 25-30 principle, or else you'll go out there to Chicago and those toothless bears will bite you. And what happened? The very thing I warned them. The very thing that I said, don't do it, he did it. He was so excited over whooping his dada that he went right out to Chicago, forgot all about the principal and the toothless bears, how they gnawed him to death. And he came back with an L on his head, 1-3. And I said then and there, this man is incorrigible. He will not let success be his guide. He won't do it. He is determined and hell-bent on deviating, backsliding. And I said then and there, as long as this is your mindset, you're going to continue to stack L's on your head. But the one hope for redemption, I told him, if you just change your ways, you need a coming to Scotty moment, and you need to embrace the principles of fundamentally sound football. You need to employ the 25-30 principle. It's the only way, McWonder. And then, what do you know now? The Rams are on a 3-game winning streak now, my folks. And so, from 5-6, they win 3 in a row to get to 8-6. And do you know that each of those 3 games they won in a row, each of those 3 victories, those 3 dubs, each of them, they employed the 25-30 principle to perfection. Yes. Oh, yes. Each of the Rams' 3 consecutive wins, they have been in compliance with the 25-30 principle. Both metrics check and check. Yes. Hashtag not a coincidence, damn it. And so I can only hope that finally, the head coach of the Rams, the emperor at the palace, finally he sees and understands it has permeated the skull bone and he gets it now. Use this formula to win. That's all. Yeah, sure, it sounds simplistic. You can run out different formations. You can run them out in 12 personnel. You can run them out in 11 personnel. Whatever, however you want to run them out in 21 personnel. Whatever you want to do, you can do it. You want to have Matty under center. You want to have him in the pistol. You wanna use all sorts of motions and formations, all of it. That's all well and fine. Go at it to your heart's content. But coach, at the end of the day, when you get done, you make sure your play sheet has 25 minimum run plays and 30 maximum pass plays, and you win the ball game, sir. There it is. Now, how many times do I have to come to you and show you this evidence before you finally say the man is on to something? I'm sure there were people that told Newton, that's not what's going on. The moon is moving the other way. What are you, mad? But he had it. He figured it out. I have figured it out. You dig? And so just to give you an example, from the first game against them damn Niners, the Rams, 26 runs, 26 passes, perfectly balanced, meets both metrics of the principle, wins the game. And then this game, they met both metrics of the 25-30 principle, both metrics, and they win the game. And their balance differential increased. The first game, they had a balance differential of 0. It was perfectly balanced. This game, they had a balance differential of plus 10. Plus 10. So he improved upon his play calling balance differential. They met both metrics and won, as I promised, as I guaranteed, as I assured him he would. Just keep doing this, coach. Keep meeting both metrics, and you'll keep winning. And so, let's go ahead, since we're talking about the numbers, let's go ahead and just get to the numbers, because honestly, I'm not going to give you much game analysis. I mean, the game was a punt fest. It was a driving rain. It was sloppy, and there are a couple of highlights. There was obviously Puka's great reception, that big reception that popped the game open, and then that pick, that poltergeist experience that Purdy had, that was a game changer. But for the most part, it was 3 and outs and I believe 13 total punts. It was not pretty to watch. Not at all attractive to behold. And so, since we're touching on the game, let's just go ahead and first do our abbreviated game analysis, and then we'll get to the meat of it, the numbers. Game analysis, the Rams had no new offensive injuries of note, and so the starting lineup for the Rams remained intact from the game before, with the exception of Colby. The friendly ghost, Colby. Parkinson was back starting at tight end, and Cousin Allen was back on the pine, where he should reside, to be perfectly honest, because the man suffers from a dreaded football condition. Cousin Allen does. He's got no yak at all. And that's a bad disorder for a football player, to have no yak at all. And Cousin Allen is, unfortunately, he is a sufferer. Okay? But other than tight end, the old line remained intact, and let's just go across from left to right. Alaric Jackson, Steve Avila, Bo Limmer at center, the rookie doing his thing. Leave him alone, McWonder. You've got Kevin Dotson at right guard and Havenstein, the staple, at right tackle. Matty from the D, as you know, is your quarterback, your Hall of Fame bound quarterback, and Kyron Williams, K-Will, balling out, is your tailback. And then your wide receiver Brew, your wide receiver Stu, the Puka Soup, the DeMarcus Robinson, Puka Nacua, and Super Cooper Kupp. And so that is how the game would start, with the Rams in 11 personnel. And after a quick San Francisco 3 and out, the Rams take over on offense. Now, they come out running, and K-Will starts it off with a carry up the gut for 6. And I'm like, yeah, that's what we want to see, coach. And then I say to myself, give it to him again. And what does McWonder do? He gives it to him again. And K-Will, but there's holding. There's a holding call on Jackson. And that puts the Rams behind the sticks now, and it's 2nd and 14. 2nd and 14, and, well, incomplete now. Behind the sticks, incomplete for Soup. 3rd and 14. He's throwing for Soup again. And, oh, no! almost a poltergeist experience right out the gate. I mean, the defender jumped around and all he had to do was just grab it and hold it, but he couldn't. He tarted it. And Maddie escapes the first pick by virtue of a tarting in San Francisco. And so the Rams managed to then go ahead and punt the ball away. And as I say, it was a punt fest, a punt here, a punt there, back and forth, a punt. And so San Francisco, put together a little bit of a drive, and they managed to get in the field goal range, and Jake Moody was in the mood for 3, and so it's 3-0 San Francisco, and the Rams get the ball for their second offensive possession, and so we start right out, the Rams' second offensive possession. They're at their own 34, and, well, McWonder's throwing, and so it's complete to Puka. And the catch was remarkable because he used the back of the defender's helmet to latch onto the ball, and he pressed the ball against the defender's helmet as he went down. Puka's amazing, and I say this every game. Puka's something else. And so that was an interesting play and quite a catch. But on the next play, Deuces is into the game, and Deuces stuffed, loss of 1, no gain. And so now it's 3rd and 4, and Matty is in the gun, and he's throwing. Oh no, another one of these. I mean, this time Matty threw a pass on a perfect line, a dart right for Mufunga, the defender. I mean, I don't know how Mufunga could not. I mean, it hit him right in the chest. Like, what? He gift wrapped the poltergeist strike right for him, but the dart was a tart. Matty's dart resulted in a tart. Oh, he dropped it. Mufanga dropped it. And that would have been back-to-back poltergeist strikes. But, hey, it was rainy, and that's why they play defense, I guess. And so Matty escapes, and as it would turn out, because at that point I thought it's just a matter of time before they pick him. But he ended up, Matty did, playing a clean game. He managed to keep it together. There was another close call, but he managed to avoid any poltergeist experiences up in the Bay. And so the Rams were able to punt, and they, again, punt. And it seemed as though Coach McWonder just was insisting upon trying to have an aerial shootout in the driving rain. And I was thinking, why won't this man embrace the principle? And then it seemed like maybe after those 2 near misses with the poltergeist, it seemed like maybe somebody whispered in his ear, "Coach, the principal, what the hell is wrong with you?" And the coach said, "Oh, yes, that's right, the 25-30, yes, let me get my mind right." And from that point, it seemed to me as though Coach McGenius started to make a concerted effort to meet the metrics of the principal. And when he does that, when he meets the metrics, you know what happens. You get the dub. And so, the Rams are trailing 3-0. It's 4 minutes, 20 seconds left in the first half. And I mean, it's just been a punt fest, back and forth. And this drive is worthy of highlight. So now, LA takes over, trailing 3-0. And they get the ball back after the San Francisco punt. They're about midfield. And first play, K. Will gets the handoff and he carries for 3. And it's like, yeah, that's what we want to see. I know we're getting short on time, but keep pounding them, McWonder. And then, next play, Matty under center, and he kills the play. Kill. And he audibles out of a pass, I'm sure, and into a run. And K. Will carries again. And I'm like, that's what we need to see. On that carry, K. Will is driving the pile. 7 yards, moving the pile, and it's 3rd and 1. And I'm like, give it to him again, and they give it to him again, and K. Will first down, and we're all rolling on the ground now, setting the tone, establishing power, fundamental football, work the clock, control a game, restrain the poltergeist. That's the beauty of the 25-30 principle. It restrains the poltergeist, you see. And so now that's 4 runs in a row, and they give it to him again, and that's 5 consecutive runs now. 5 consecutive runs, and it's 3rd and 6. And so, we're going to pass here, 3rd and 6, and it's complete to Puka, but it's short of the sticks. And so McWonder, it looks like he's setting up to go for a 4th and 2, but we're in field goal range. I'm like, what are you doing? But I guess he was just trying to pull him offside, because once they didn't jump, he sent the field goal unit out. Ball snap, ball down, kick is up. Karty is hearty. And at halftime, the game is tied 3-3. And so this was just to highlight the fact that as the game continued to ebb on, you could see McGenius course correct. And that last sequence, 5 consecutive runs in those muddy, rainy conditions, that's what we needed to see from the Rams. And winning 12-6, hey, a win is a win, right? And so that will conclude your abbreviated game analysis. As I mentioned, there was a beautiful catch by Puka in the second half. Another one, a big one that broke their back. There was the poltergeist strike from Purdy that finished off them damn Niners. But the key to it all, in my opinion, was the coach reining himself in, making a conscious decision to run the ball, to meet the metrics, to beat Father at his own game, and that's exactly what he did. So let's get to the numbers, my folks. That's where it's at. And so let's start with the victors, the Rams, whooping up on them damn Niners. Matthew Stafford in the game on Thursday night was 16 of 27. Hold it! 16 of 27. The Rams didn't allow any sacks. So that's 27 dropbacks for the LA Rams and Coach McGenius. And that meets the metric for the 25-30 principle. A maximum of 30 pass attempts. The Rams had 27. Check. Excellent. Beautiful. But in order for the principle to be effective, in order for it to work, you must hit both metrics. What did the Rams do on the ground? Kyren Williams, K-Will, 29 carries. Oh, stop the presses. Ding, ding, ding. There it is. That's the second game in a row K-Will has carried 29 times. 29 carries. That's bell cow material, my folks. 29 carries for K-Will for 108 yards. 3.7 per in those conditions. Game ball, K-Will, game ball, sir. And then the Rams, on top of K-Will's 29 carries, also had 2 carries from Puka on the jet sweep and 3 from Blake Corum, and Matty carried for 18 yards. Listen, the Rams had a grand total. Sit down and prepare yourself for this. 38 run plays. 38! 38 carries, my folks. And so the Rams, 38 carries on the ground to 27 passes attempted in the air. That is a balance differential of plus 11. Plus 11 for McWonder. And so he meets both metrics with ease. 38 carries on the ground, and you need a minimum of 25. 27 pass attempts, you had a maximum of 30. Check and check. And a plus 11 balance differential. You know you're going to win that game. You're going to win that game when you do this. Let success be your guide, coach. Less big. Just keep doing what you're doing. Yet again, the principle holds true. How much more evidence do you need? kudos, coach. And so I have to give him an honorary game ball. That's an honorary for Coach McWonder because he has followed the principle 3 consecutive games with 3 consecutive wins, and he has followed it 3 consecutive times against his Dada with 3 consecutive wins against them damn Niners. That's why I devised the principle. That's why I found it and researched it. And that's why I've been coming here to the outskirts, broadcasting to send a message. Just use this formula to win. Yeah. And so, game ball, Puka Nacua. The aforementioned with the 2 carries for 11 yards on the ground, but then he was the leading receiver on the day for the Rams, 7 receptions for 97 yards when yards were scarce to come by in the air. He had nearly 100 of the total 160 that the Rams were able to produce. He had a 13.9 per catch average with that big backbreaker. Game ball, Puka Nacua. And then, finally, there is one more game ball. I should give it out now. I want to give a game ball. On the defensive end. Let me give a game ball to Christian Roseboom. Rose go boom. 7 tackles, 7 solo tackles, 2 assisted tackles, plus a sack. Game ball, Mr. Roseboom. That's your second one, I believe. Nice going, sir. And an honorary game ball on defense, Kobe Turner, the conductor making beautiful music. Kobe Turner, 3 solo tackles, 2 assisted tackles, and 2 sacks. Honorary mention on defense for the conductor. But let's look at the losers now when we apply the principle. And I find this very interesting because Father Shanahan wrote the book. And yet, he has been operating out of his own book, out of the book of McWonder. Let's look at it. Father Shanahan, Brock Purdy. Well, he was 14 for 31. Hold it, 31. You're already over the metric. And Purdy was sacked 3 times. Now, I'm going to tell you this. Purdy takes a lot of grief. Purdy's a good quarterback, but Purdy got hurt. Because, see, Purdy's not running now, and that's a big part of his game. Purdy like a sitting duck now. He was never the biggest armed quarterback, but without that mobility and nursing the injury, he seems like a shell of the guy we saw in week 3 when the Niners came to L.A. And so Purdy, 3 sacks with 31 pass attempts. That's 34 dropbacks. 34. X, Father, X. And then he missed the first metric. What about rushing for them damn Niners? Well, Garendo, 16 carries. Debo, 2 carries. Purdy, 1 carry. Wow, that's a grand total. 19 carries. Paltry, that's a little on the short side. That's weak. That is missing the metric on both counts. You were short on run attempts and you were over on pass attempts. You missed both metrics, Father. You had a negative 15 balance differential. Father, you're going to lose. You're going to wear that L on your head, and he's wearing it. And so, them damn Niners having to guzzle down their own medicine at the hands of McGenius and the Rams. You got to love that. And just to give you an example of Father trending in the wrong direction in their first game in L.A. against the Rams, Purdy, 31 pass attempts. He was still over by a tick. 34 run plays. So they ran the ball 34 times and they passed it 31. They were a tick over, but McGenius met both metrics and Father missed by a hair on one. And they lost that game. But this game, Father went completely the other direction. He had a +3 balance differential in the first game, and he went to a minus 15 in this game, trending in the wrong direction, Father. Need some help, need some intervention. You won't be getting it from here, though. Let's take a quick look around the NFL, and things are pretty much as I predicted they would be in that initial episode at the start of the season. Now, I thought the Dolphins would be able to unseat the Bills. I was wrong there. The Bills own that division, and the Dolphins are not going to make it. And, Tua had some missing games, but the Bills sit pretty atop the division, and they have a plus 135 points differential. Very impressive. Kansas City, I told you, I expected that they would again represent the AFC in the Super Bowl, and they are at 13-1 with the best record in the NFL. They have a plus 70 point differential. I did not see Denver and the Broncos coming. I give credit where it's due. I wouldn't have predicted that, but they have a plus 89 points differential, and they are in secure position for a wild card. I did say I thought the Chargers would get a wild card this year, and they are in position for one, and they have a plus 47 point differential. Then the Steelers. I thought at best they could get a wild card because I thought the Ravens would be the ones who would win that division, when in fact it's the other way around. The Steelers are winning that division as it stands, but it's only a game difference, and they do play Baltimore coming up, so that's going to be interesting. And so my prediction initially may still hold with the Ravens at 1 and the Steelers a wild card, or it could be that this is going to be how it turns out with the Ravens as a wild card and Pittsburgh, who never has a losing season under Mike Tomlin, winning that division. Very interesting race, and we'll watch that one down the stretch. And then, Pittsburgh, they have a plus 71 points differential. Baltimore, they have a plus 86 points differential. Even the Bengals, I'm only really giving you above 500 teams, but just as a point of reference, I told you I thought that Cincinnati would fall off, and they have, of course, as you know. But even they have a plus 12 points differential. And then finally, in the AFC South, well, the Texans, they're still there, and I thought they would win that division, but they seem to be stumbling. They have a plus 28, though, a plus 28 points differential. So as you can see, for the most part, the AFC is lining up how I predicted it would. In the NFC, same scenario. I told you that the Eagles would win the division. The Eagles fly. They're 12-2 with a plus 122 points differential. And I told you I thought that Washington could get a wild card. And we'll look at that. What do you know? They have a plus 81 points differential, and they are sitting in a wild card spot. In the NFC North, I told you I thought 3 teams would make the playoffs. I just had one of them wrong. I didn't see Minnesota coming. And Minnesota, man, the Vikings are 12-2. As are, put them up, the Lions, 12-2. The Lions have a plus 177 points differential, and Minnesota has a plus 117. Still very respectable. And the third team that will make the playoffs out of that division, Green Bay, the Pack, they at 10-4 have a plus 92 points differential, and so the NFC North is the best division in pro football. And then, well, the NFC South, okay, and that's the opposite. I told you I thought Atlanta and the Bucks would battle it out, and I thought Atlanta would get one and then the Bucks maybe a wild card, but it could be the other way around there. I mean, there's just one game separating them, so we'll see how that plays out. But Atlanta's only 7-7, and so if you look at the above 500 teams, the Buccaneers, they have a plus 77 point differential. Now, I've given you all this data because I want you to juxtapose that to the NFC West and the Rams. It is only the Rams in the entire NFL. Only the Rams have a winning record with a negative points differential. They're the only team in the league that's above 500 with a negative points differential. So that's cause for concern. Now, granted, Coach McWonder was not applying the principle with any form of discipline in the earlier part of the season, and he now seems to be doing so. As I say, 3 straight games of applying the 25-30 principle, 3 straight wins. Not a coincidence. Hashtag not a coincidence. And so the Rams at 8-6 sit in first place, even with that negative points differential. They are tied record-wise with the Seahawks at 8-6, as you know, but they are in first place because they have already beaten Seattle. Seattle has a +2 points differential, and the Cardinals, who have already beaten the Rams and are sitting at 7-7, they have a +8 points differential. And so even the Niners at the bottom of the division, them damn Niners, they only have a -6. The Rams have a -28. Cause for concern. What that tells me is this team is not equipped to win games unless they're playing with balance and discipline. Otherwise, if they get out of balance and start playing unsound football, they're going to lose. They're going to lose to quality teams. And so I say all that to say the Rams do control their own destiny now. With only 3 games left, they're 8-6. Well, if you run the table and win all 3, you win the division. It's just that simple. Now, next up is COVID toe, as I mentioned, and them damn Jets stink Jets. There is no reason not to be disciplined, play fundamentally sound, and defeat the New York Jets with the 25-30 principle. There's no reason not to do it, coach, other than a backslide. Don't revert. Don't deviate from what's working. Less big, coach. Less big. Now, after the Jets, you just have the Cardinals and the Seahawks, your 2 division rivals who are in play for that division crown. And you have both of them at home. You've already beaten Seattle and you owe the Cardinals a payback. But because these teams are bunched so close, if you lose 1 or 2, the other team can overtake you just like that. So in order to pull this off, you need to stay out of the book of McWonder and follow Scotty's new golden rule, the undefeated 25-30 principle, and success will follow you all the way to the Super Bowl. And so at this point, my folks, what I'm going to ask of you, what I need for you to do is throw me one of these, just one, please. Like the video, subscribe if you haven't already, leave me a comment, let me know what you're thinking, and until the next one, which won't be too long from this one, because we got to be back on the other side of the Jets game to chop up that experience. And so until then, my friends, Scotty says, thank you for watching. One love.